we were finally able to both finish both shows. So we wanted to kind of recap our thoughts on both. We could start out with Ironheart. I know you finished it before I did. I literally just watched the last three, like I think last night. Um, and I remember I'd only watched the first two, I think, at last week. And I mean, overall, I would say it was a solid, entertaining show. It wasn't unwatchable like Agatha was, even though I did make myself watch the whole thing because I'm a psychopath. But um, it was perfectly watchable. There was some really solid stuff in it, I thought. There was certainly some stuff I didn't care for that much. Um, but I honestly do think the show had more good than bad in it. I think Dominic Thorne was really solid in the lead role. Um, I think Anthony Ramos was my personal MVP. Although we are a little biased because we love him, but he really was like a good villain. Like he really was. We'd never seen him, play a villain before, and I thought he did a great job. And then the last episode where you kind of like see why he's doing what he's doing and all this stuff. What makes a great villain is like, knowing their motivation behind it. So I think they did a good job with that. He was awesome. I don't really think any of the surrounding cast was particularly just great. Other Alden Ehrenreich was good. I still don't like I texted you. I just feel like he doesn't need to be in something like this. I feel like he's like one of those guys that could potentially be like a top tier actor, like an Oscar worthy actor especially after his performance in Oppenheimer, even though it was very brief, he like had like some of the best scenes in that movie for sure. Um, and I didn't even know he was in this until I started watching it and I saw him and I was like, "What?" His character was a little confusing at the end. I mean, it was cool who he ended up being, but then whatever they did to him was just odd. But I mean, overall, entertaining show. I thought it was going to be more grounded, but it honestly was kind of not that grounded there towards the end. Um, but yeah, and then obviously get the at the end. We'll jump into spoilers a little bit too. You get the Mephisto reveal, Sacha Baron Cohen. They've been talking about Mephisto ever since WandaVision premiered, how all those years ago. Great casting, by the way. He looked great. I loved like his facial hair and his eyebrows and everything. Looked very solid. So yeah, yeah, dude, what did you think? I kind of gave my thoughts. Let's hear yours.
Yeah, I think Dominique Thorne and Anthony Ramos were outstanding in this. I actually was very impressed. I didn't think that I was gonna care for Riri's character and Ironheart as a whole. I didn't think. I thought the Hood also being kind of. I think I talked about it last episode. Kind of. I thought he was gonna be more mysterious than he was. Kind of at the beginning, and then we would get a reveal of like his true motivations. Which we did get the reveal later, which is fine. But yeah, no, I thought them two together, or when they were bouncing off of each other, Um, especially towards the end when they were kind of, not working together anymore and they were more enemies. I thought they were very good. I thought the girl that played Natalie, I thought she was very good too. I thought there was a lot of emotion between Dominique Thorne and her. Um, I was actually shocked at how kind of real it was at times, talking about grief and trauma and loss and all of
Panic
that.
attacks and stuff.
Yeah, and I really thought that was a good job. And we talked about in Thunderbolts how good that was getting really emotional background to some of these characters and why there's some of their motivations. And I thought they did a really good job making a I think a complex character. It'd be really easy to go into a 6 episode miniseries and say, we're going to make her as a character and then them fall flat. I don't think Riri is flat at all. And then you make a villain who also has deeper, kind of connections to, especially something overall arching. And, now we get Mephisto in the MCU as well. And Anthony Ramos did a good job at that. There were some things in this show that I thought were very cool. Seeing the iron suit, not be nanotech, which we talked last time, and seeing, it either, get hit into the ground and you have a crater or like
Breaking
fall.
apart.
Yeah, like dude, that is cool. That's what we wanted. That's why we loved Iron Man in the originals. or back in 2008 or whatever. And I thought that was very cool, not having nanotech. Um, Definitely some bad. I agree with you. I don't think Alden Ehrenreich's character is necessary. You can say Ezekiel Stain is going to be like it's kind of a cool reveal, but at the same time, I think if you just revealed him as Ezekiel Stain, he can kind of do the same thing and not have him as this modified electricity building, person, I guess. But Ezekiel Stain, I did not see coming. I thought he was going to be related to somebody. Probably should have seen that coming with related to Iron Man. Um, let's see what else. I don't know. I really was impressed at some things. But yeah, I liked how, at times it was deep, and I thought some of the fight choreography was good, making Riri like actually have to use her mind and everything like that. And, a lot of people have like these tragic backstories to their parents, like with Tony Stark, they get killed by the Winter Soldier, or, Captain America loses Bucky, and like this is special, and the list goes on and on. But with hers, it's just a drive-by shooting in Chicago. Like, I feel like that's very real, very grounded. And the reason she was making the suit, she kept saying because she could, but in reality, she did it to, protect the ones that she loved. And I think that's real. I think that's, can go with the extreme like intelligence she has. I liked it, man. I actually was very impressed.
Yeah, no, it definitely exceeded expectations considering like we literally didn't even have a trailer a month ago. Um, the marketing for this show was horrible.
Yeah,
Um, it was like no promotion at all, but it ended up being, I mean, middle ground Marvel show. It was there was certainly some good stuff. It's nothing just insane, but a couple of really solid performances from Dominic Thorne and Anthony Ramos for sure.
yep,
Uh, I don't know if we'll ever see any of these characters again.
yeah,
Uh, the ending was definitely, I didn't see her making that decision to sell her soul to the devil.
right, right,
Um, I didn't see that coming, but she did. Despite after a whole season, like trying to, you know, get Anthony Ramos to believe that or convince him that he's in the wrong,
yeah,
and then you go do the same thing
yeah.
that he did. I don't know how I felt about that ending, and then you saw like the thing possessing her arm in the last scene.
The thing that makes me not, because Mephisto is kind of like the devil or whatever, you can kind of, assume that he's very, very persuasive, and that would be help. And Riri's not some overarching like person who knows all. She's at the end of the day still a kid. So I think the decision makes sense. But yeah, it kind of shocked me as well because we saw her, try to get it out of Anthony Ramos. And I thought the Hood was a very cool character. I don't know anything about him from the comics. So he's one character that I didn't know what was coming. But yeah, no, dude, I'm with you. Yeah, it was kind of shocking at the end. I did not see that coming. I thought she was gonna, walk away and kind of be like, okay, I'm gonna do my own thing. But yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I maybe we do see her again in like in Young Avengers or something if we end up getting that. I know that's been teased for a couple years. Um, I'm really curious to see if we see Mephisto again because I mean, he's pretty big in the comics. He has a lot to do with like, the Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch, like a lot of the sorcery stuff. Um, but he also has a lot to do with like Ghost Rider, which I'm
Mhm.
hoping maybe now this can kind of start getting that train rolling because I know me and you both really want to see Ghost Rider in the MCU. Maybe that can kind of, this is like a diving board for that. Um, yeah, I think I saw like years ago that Sacha Baron Cohen had signed on,
It was like
but
2019 or
yeah,
2020.
I just had completely forgotten about it. But if I'm wrong, did he like get canceled within the last couple months or 6 months or something? That's why I was like shocked to see him. I think he got canceled for some sketchy stuff, but
Okay.
we'll have to look and see. I don't know. Either way, I mean, I thought he in his one episode he was very solid. Crazy seeing Borat in the MCU. Borat and Eric Andre in the MCU.
Didn't think we'd see it, man.
Who'd have thought? But
Didn't think we'd see it.
yeah, so that's Ironheart. If you like I mean, if you just like Marvel stuff, check it out. I'm sure you'll find some enjoyment in it. Even if you're not that invested into Marvel stuff, you still might enjoy the story. It's pretty, self-explanatory. It doesn't tie into too much previous stuff. Um, yeah, I feel like it's something that really a lot of people can enjoy. I love how it like really captured, I feel like the soul of like Chicago and that community and everything. Um, yeah, certainly some really, really good stuff in it. I enjoyed it. Everybody go check out Ironheart for sure because
Oh,
it's the last live action Marvel. Well, I keep saying that the last live action Marvel show we're getting until Wonder Man in the fall or winter, and
yeah, it's in December.
I think that's only like might be like an hour special or something. I don't know if it's a full show. Can't
Oh,
remember.
I will say too, please go watch Ironheart because right now it's getting review bombed for literally no reason. No reason. There is no reason to review bomb this. I think it's BS that it has bad reviews on certain things. So please go watch it, because do not read the reviews, do not believe the reviews, the bad ones, because they're either nitpicking or it's review bombing. So please go check it out.
Yep. So that is Ironheart. Very excited to get to Fantastic Four in a couple weeks.